In this video, I'm going to give you 4 crazy, scary, shocking money stats. And you may have been worrying that you're not getting ahead in life financially, right? But I'm going to tell you, you may be richer than you actually think considering all the crap that's going on. Now, you may feel like you can't get ahead, but I can promise you one thing. If you get to the end of this video, you're going to be glad that you did, because you probably had this gut feeling that you've been slipping. So the question I have for you is this: what does doing well financially really look like? And that's the reason I'm doing this video. It's for you. And as you already know with this channel, I want you to avoid those pitfalls that are costly. So go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you're good with that. Income, millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. The truth? What we're going to be looking at is 4 key areas to your finances. And I'm talking about earnings, savings, spending, and debt. But first, let's talk about what's really real and what's fake. And what's the truth? Because we all live in a world that, a lot of people, they look like they got big money, but the reality is the internet exposes us to what success is supposed to look like. It's everywhere, it's all the time. But how many people do you personally know that are driving around in a Lambo in your town, right? So if it wasn't for social media, we probably wouldn't see any of this stuff, all these over-the-top lifestyles of the rich and famous. So is it real, or are we just being brainwashed into believing that this is what we need to achieve? So while we work hard and we save and we invest, these millionaires and billionaires, they lounge around the pool with their flashy lifestyles. Driving Ferraris and Bentleys and living in their mansions with millions of fans and views on social media, right? But the world is really obsessed with these fancy people. So it's no wonder that we feel like we're behind and we can't get ahead in life. And this is especially since we have all this propaganda to compare ourselves to, right? But the truth. Now, according to a 2022 study by Experian, a lot of wealthy folks, they don't drive fancy cars. This recent study found that people with household incomes of more than $250,000 a year, they drive Toyotas, Fords, Hondas. So let's start by talking about fake money, what it looks like, and what average really is. In descending order, number 4. Now, how much do you earn? Now, if you ask most people, they're going to tell you, look, I never earn enough money, right? But if you want to feel better about how much money that you actually earn, just realize something. There's about 1 billion people that live on this planet that live on less than $2 a day. But we know that the cost of living in the United States, it ain't cheap, right? So it's not about how much you earn, but it's about how much you keep and actually what you do with it. So the guy who's driving around in a Bentley, he may look really cool and he may feel poor because he has to pay for his fancy lifestyle every single month just to keep up. And that's not success, and that's not freedom. That, my friends, is a trap. Now, I want you to think about yourself and where you are, because I want you to know that 61% of all Americans do not have enough emergency savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. Now, these numbers are from Bankrate.com, and 20% of Americans say they have no savings at all. So, if you have those 2 things covered, you're already ahead of the average American. This leads us up to number 3. Now, it's not about what you got, but it's about what you actually do with it. So I got a question for you. Do you know someone who's got a little bit of money, yet they don't look like they've got it together, right? Have you had that experience? So drop it in the comments and let me know, because here's the reason why I'm asking. There's a scary fact that almost half of Americans that earn more than $100,000 per year, they look like they got it all together, right? With a lot of fancy stuff all around them. Yet now, these people are saying that they're living paycheck to paycheck. What? How can that be? So here's the numbers. The average savings by age group in the nation, I want you to look at this graph. Yet there are others whose income is much less, yet they're flush with cash. They have investment income and cash flow, for that matter. So how is it possible to earn less money and actually be richer? That's weird, right? Well, currently, the average savings rate after expenses in the United States is 4.61%. Now, the cost of living, housing costs, and all kinds of expenses, it keeps on going up month after month. So, if you're saving more than 5% of your income, guess what? You're doing better than most Americans. Now, here's some crazy numbers for you. 1 in 5 Americans have no emergency savings. And 30%, they've got some savings, but it's not enough to cover 3 months' worth of expenses. So now imagine if someone loses a job, or somebody gets sick, or they can't work. 3 months, they're completely insolvent. They're wiped out in 3 months. Wow, right? So the next time you see your coworker who's driving that BMW X6M, I'm not hating, and there's nothing wrong with driving a $135,000 car. But don't ask yourself, hey, how can they afford that on that salary and I can't? And don't ask yourself, what are you doing wrong? Because just realize something, that person may be blowing every penny that they earn. Now let's talk about a dirty word, self-control. Now imagine having your money work for you instead of you working for your money. Now that's when you can get ahead in life. Now think about all the small, seemingly insignificant things that we do on a daily basis that can get us ahead in life. You know, things like saving a little bit of money and putting that chunk towards a certificate of deposit into a bank that's earning a high rate of interest. Now you're getting ahead, right? Things like taking part of that savings and buying a small property and putting down 20% and fixing it up and then collecting that rental income. You're getting ahead. And then you let your cash flow from those investments pay for your fancy car or your fancy house, right? Here's the problem. Most people are trying to keep up with others, or it's instant gratification. So currently the average savings rate after expenses in the United States, as I said, it was 4.6%. But here's what's interesting is 1 out of 3 Americans don't have enough retirement. They don't have a retirement specific account like an IRA or a 401k. This is according to bankrate.com. Now, you heard right. That's 33% of Americans have zero in retirement. Now here's the fact, at some point you're going to get old, because we all are. Guess what? Nobody's getting younger. But you need to prepare for that day because it's going to happen. Now if you regularly invest your money, you're already ahead and you're above average. But if you're investing in income producing properties, you're way above average, and you owe yourself the security and the quality of life into your future. Are you getting anything out of this? Go ahead and smash that like button. Now, I want to show you a graph, and here's why. Our savings are more important now than they ever have been. There's a rising number of luxury goods among middle class that's absolutely crushing the American dream. It's financial freedom. It's not that they don't have money, it's they choose to get rid of it to somebody else. Number 2 is spending. Look, 60% of Americans don't make regular written budget about where the money's coming from and going to, and that's your roadmap on where you're going. You know, life is a struggle for many, but after years of inflation and cost of everything, the cost of living, including housing and all kinds of expenses, it keeps on going up, and I get it. But it is wise to manage your money on paper or a spreadsheet so you can see where you're going. It's a map. So if you find that your map is taking you off course, what are you going to do about it? Is your town too expensive to live in? Or are you just going to let this happen to you? So have you thought about moving to a place that's less expensive, more affordable, has lower taxes, and maybe even a better lifestyle? You know, it's happening. Many people are doing it. They're looking at where they are in life and they're moving to a better place. So if you don't like how things are where you live, change it. You're not a tree, you can actually move. And right now we're even seeing retirees doing this. They're moving from places they thought were affordable to another place. And there's a massive number of people moving out of the state of Florida, believe it or not, to escape that unaffordability of property taxes and super high insurance costs. And we're seeing them move to obviously places like where I am today here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where they're finding those lower property taxes or lower cost of living. And if they're retired, guess what? They're not paying any tax on their Social Security tax. So you can do it no matter what stage you are in your life. And if you don't like how things are, change it. The problem is many people are living beyond their means and they don't even realize what's happening. You know, they're not aware of it because they don't map it out. They're not looking at their map. But if you put your finances on paper, I can assure you, you're going to find out where your money is, and it's going to give your money direction. And you'll be surprised at how much extra money that you can come up with. But if you do this step, again, you're going to be above average already. Now, there's a recent study that said 64% of the nation is living beyond their means. Can you believe it? Where money goes, it's coming in, but it's going out faster. So this includes retirees that are pulling money from savings, and that could adjust those numbers. But the question I have for you is, are you living above your means? Or are you actually getting ahead in life? Now take a look at these numbers. American households, they're spending an average of $61,334 per year, or $5,111 per month. This is according to the U.S. Census. Now imagine this, the American family household income is $71,000 per year, and this is an average between what's going on and what's really not going on, because a lot of people think they have to have $85,000 worth of household income to get by, according to a Gallup poll. And this tracks alongside a study from Smart Asset, which found that the average American worker needs $68,499 in after-tax income to live comfortably. That works out to about $85,000 in total income, and that's assuming you get a 20% tax hit. Now, with these numbers, it's no wonder that 11.6% of Americans are living in poverty, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. But they're telling us inflation is under control. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So is it wealth, poverty, or do you have enough? Here's number one. It's the issue. It's debt. Now, if you pay your bills on time and don't load up on debt, you're probably ahead of the average because you're doing pretty well financially. But here's the deal on debt. Here's the figures, the numbers. This is the OMG stuff that the media loves to talk about. This is the total household debt. The mortgage, HELOCs, credit card, auto loans, student loans, and all kinds of other stuff. The media loves, because this is scary, total crash and burn of everything we know stuff. Because debt levels, they've risen in the past couple of years. We get it. But so has income. So let's dive deeper into this. What's really going on? The truth. Now here's a graph of credit card balances as a percentage of income. Now, according to Money.com, Americans have less debt in 2023 compared to pre-COVID times when the average adult was owing a little bit over $22,000. Now, they told us everything was crashing. But the truth? New delinquencies are way below pre-pandemic levels. And bankruptcies? They're at record lows. Doesn't make any sense. There's plenty of crash and burn, oh my gosh stuff in the media about household debt, right? But here's the real numbers. Yes, debt is up, but so is income, and here's the graph for that. Total household debt percentage of the income. The reality is, if you're saving and you're not going into debt and you're paying your bills on time, and you're going to be in the front of the pack in terms of financial performance here. But does that make you feel any better? You're shaking your head no. Why? What's going on? Well, compared to others on social media that have the jets and all the big honking houses, it's no wonder we're always dissatisfied with our position in life, right? But even after we've actually made it in life, even after we're really getting ahead, and even if we're saving for retirement, or even if we have income producing real estate, it's just human nature that you want more, right? Because we never know when it's enough, ever. So that's the reason that I need to tell you this story about my friend, who was one mortgage payment away from paying his house off. Crazy, right? Yet he and his wife fell in love with this new home. And it happened, and they ended up with a contract to purchase that new home. But he told me he was having real panic attacks about he was going to have to borrow money, and he was questioning whether he was going to be able to afford this house at his age because he was nearing retirement. But his wife mentioned there's nothing to worry about, because she was told him, we'll just sell a few of our rental houses. And he told his wife, look, that's the reason that we did that, because we're saving that for when we get old. And she said, yes, dear, but we are old. That's the reason that we invested and prepared years ago. Now, he laughed and agreed, yeah, we are older and this is our time. But it's funny, right, if you think about it. When do we ever know when it's enough? So if you look at what I mentioned in this video, it may show you that you're really doing well and you're on track. Or it could show you that, you really need to step on the gas pedal. So we're all competitive and we all want to win, but just realize you may already be winning. And you may already be way ahead of what is average. So you may not be a billionaire, but stop comparing yourself to that level. If you drowned out that noise, you're going to be happy. And that distracts from the thing that really matters the most, like subscribing, if you haven't done so already. But seriously, is any of this information helpful? Please subscribe, because that's going to make my day. And if you do that, you're going to see more videos that are like this to help you avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.